Hey everyone, Anti-Beta1M here and welcome to my channel. I'm doing a Facebook post on speculation and I called it Going Economy Class on my 43rd birthday. I'll be 43 tomorrow at 12:21 p.m. And just recalling the idea that when I was younger, I bought a book called To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I've actually never read To the Lighthouse, but I have a pretty good idea of what it means. I've probably read the blurb and a few semi-synopses of this book. It's about a family who anticipates going to the lighthouse but never actually gets there. And that's a representation of a lot of the things that happen in my life. Anticipating, speculating, and contemplating going to somewhere and being somebody, but not actually being that person or achieving that end goal. Now, speculation has led me to a lot of strange and unwieldy sort of paths. I abstained from engaging in activities for 9 months in when I was about 24, which led me to be arrested by police and placed in mental hospital, which was further speculation about my mental condition. But it was a certain lifestyle that I built around speculation and this sort of individuated anticipation and not doing much, but pretending that things were going to be very big in the future. I bombed out of university level studies on 6 occasions between 1999 and the current year. And I never completed a degree. So my top qualification is a certificate 2 in information technology. During my 20s, when I used to walk around the shops of Canberra a lot and not do very much and was very idle as a person without a job, for example, I would look up at the book shops and the newsagents and look at certain book covers. So I know the names of many Bryce Courtenay books. Bryce Courtenay was very famous and probably still is quite famous for his new novels and stuff. And I never read the novels. I just looked at the covers and knew what the titles were and how the covers looked. It's the same thing with looking at people's sexual lives, their intimate lives, their private lives, tapping in, eavesdropping on people's conversations, and speculating on it and cool culture, like things like going to a gig or a concert or something. Speculation makes up at least half of me, possibly much more. I speculate about what could be. I speculate about having, 1,000 YouTube subscribers or something. And I'm not far from that on TikTok. I've got 570 subscribers on TikTok, so things could change. But I regard myself as the imperfect egg of some kind, if that can be a vegan analogy. I regard myself as the imperfect human being, with very good reason. I see so many people among my friends and so on who feel that they're very accomplished people. They have degrees, they have affluent lives, they have so many things that I don't have, and yet they're much unhappier than I am. They feel depressed. They feel like their life is meaningless, purposeless. They travel a lot. They don't like to travel, but they do so anyway. All of these attributes that they have, I'm a piecemeal sort of person, but I don't have so many of the things that they have. I didn't have a smartphone until September 2017. I've never had a girlfriend. I lived with my parents until I was well into my 30s. Since my university days, I wanted to write a great Australian novel and become popular and famous, but I have never been able to write more than several pages of a novel, trying to emulate my favorite novel like The Catch in the Rye, for example. Until very recent years, when I committed to teaching myself how to use the telephone, I couldn't speak on the telephone, since my parents discouraged me from doing so when I was a kid. and never taught me how to do it properly. The last time I travelled out of Australia was in 1999. This is 23 years ago, when my father graciously, I suppose, funded 2 trips overseas for me to the US and to Europe. Free trips which never reoccurred since then. So my last trip out of Brisbane was for a month in January 2019 to Melbourne. And before then, having to go back to 2015 when I was itinerant and evading the police. But since 2015, stayed in Brisbane except for that 1 month of travel in 2019. So it's been a very long haul in Brisbane, 7 years of staying in the same city. And admittedly, I do get bored of walking down the same street. Every time I wake up, I have to walk down the same, have the choice of 2 paths, either going that way to the west or going that way to the east to get to the city. Sometimes I go to Fortitude Valley on rare occasions, going northwards, but it's much rarer than going the other ways. So I don't have many choices of travel every time I wake up and make my ways to the city. Now, I've been in hospital on 17 occasions, and hospital is full of speculation. The nurses hardly know what they're doing, and they don't even tell you your diagnosis. And you're pretty much living in a room with very little to do. It's all about speculation there. And you have activities occasionally from Monday to Friday, but the weekends are incredibly boring. So my father is full of speculation himself. He's a very staid and stoic kind of person, but his speculation is not of the intense, imaginative, and highly energetic type. He's a very staid person. So when you're around him, you have the idea that, oh, you might do this, you might do that, but he's all speculation, never going anywhere, never actually doing anything, always being reserved and shy and staying back in the crowd, for example. And there's the same thing with my inheritance of his money and his properties and so on. He never gives me anything at the age of 43, but he has this plan of some kind that he might do so when he dies, leave a lot of it to me, or half of it to me, I should say, and that's his prerogative to do that. So I just watched a TEDx talk by Caroline McHugh. You can look it up. It's called The Art of Being Yourself. And I was just thinking, if I were to make a TEDx talk today, it would be called To the Lighthouse. To the Lighthouse. So if you don't know what that book is about, I suggest you look at the cover and have a think about what it might be about. All the best. See you in the next video.